Do carbs make you fat, or is that just a myth? Just on carbs, I spent countless hours examining studies and binging the content and opinions of 3 top experts, so you don't have to. Number 1, Dr. Berg, nutritional educator, known for intense ketogenic diets, intermittent fasting, and hormone-related fat loss. 2, Jeff Nippard, bachelor's in science and biochemistry, and natural pro bodybuilder and powerlifter, also known to translate studies into practical advice. 3, Dr. Mike Israetel, PhD in sports physiology, exercise, and movement, with an overwhelming amount of experience in fitness, and is also just hilarious, practical, and entertaining. We're going to compare where the science and these experts agree and where they don't. If you're tired with conflicting and confusing advice, let's go. I will praise Dr. Berg for spreading awareness on unhealthy things, GMOs, MSG, and vegetable oils, etc., teaching you how to heal illnesses with just dietary adjustments. And I think having a balanced opinion drawn from him is a good idea. Yet when it comes to muscle building and having a more balanced, healthy opinion on carbs, Jeff Nippard and Dr. Mike has more practical, science-based advice. That being said, let's talk about how to use carbs for a major advantage. Now, Jeff and Dr. Mike reject the idea that carbs makes you fat. Instead, they both agree that carb-rich foods tend to be high in calories, delicious, and addictive.
But it sure shit isn't brown rice that is making people fat. What is it? Pizza, ice cream, cookies, etc. They are the most lipogenic foods because they have 2 things going for them. 1, they have a ton of calories for every bite. 2, they are delicious and you just keep wanting to eat them. And you do. And then you get fat. And you look in the mirror. Or you begin to cry. Your spouse just isn't looking at you the same way anymore.
But it's not just the sugar being the reason why these are so bad.
When people say, oh, it's the sugar that got me fat, they think they mean sugar, but a lot of times it's not just sugar. Name a sugary food that you love that you know is bad for your health and has the potential to get you fat. I promise you there's a very good chance that the foods you name also have lots of fat in them. What is just sugar? Like Pixie Sticks? It's hard to get fat off that shit because that's pure sugar. I mean, there's only so many containers of Smarties you can eat until you're like, man, fuck this. But you can eat a lot of ice cream, which is the fat plus the sugar that does most of the work.
Also, being that they're processed, they keep you full for a shorter amount of time, making you eat them again. Whereas even if you ate 0 carbohydrates, if you ate a ton of fat going over your caloric maintenance, you will still gain fat. So your body uses insulin to store carbs into fat. Similarly, your body uses acylation stimulating protein to convert excess dietary fat into body fat. But just because this is the case, it doesn't mean we can glorify carbohydrates now, because most people have a degree of insulin resistance, especially if you've been snacking or eating high carb for a while. And when you try to stop eating carbs, all of a sudden you're having cravings. And when you want to start losing weight or get serious, all of a sudden it's really hard. Keep in mind, if you're a healthy individual and you just want to lose some weight, you won't have to worry about carbs too much if you don't have blood sugar issues and crave a lot. So these guys will tell you they don't care how many carbs you eat. As long as it's not coming from junk food, it's not crazy in a bunch of refined carbs, and it's within your maintenance, you will lose weight, and that is true. And to which the degree you reduce refined carbohydrates and increase complex carbs.
If you're on a fat loss diet, you're trying to restrict the amount of calories you're eating, but you don't want to gnaw your own hand off with hunger, I recommend having most of your carbohydrates come from veggies and maybe fruits and a few whole grains. And so veggies, fruits, whole grains, processed carbs, that's how it looks on a fat loss diet. On a maintenance plan, it might look like this. And when you really need to gain a ton of weight, voila.
Unless you want to improve your performance in the gym, here's a brief outline. Now, Dr. Berg is nowhere to be found in these metrics. He recommends a maximum of like 80 grams of carbs per day to fuel your workout. These 2 suckers recommend 80 carbs before your workout. And some people talk about fasting before your workout, but that's a different video. So before your workout, to fuel you, you want to eat something less complex, more refined, like white rice, rice cakes, juice or fruit banana, equating to 0.5 gram of carb per pound of body weight. If you have less lean mass, you would lower the gram per pound, given that carbs are only stored into muscles for energy for the workout. And this is to be saying you're having decent, pretty hard workouts. Not if you're doing a little bit of jogging, some running, or especially if you work out under 2 times per week, because your body is already replenishing carbohydrates in your muscles throughout the week as you eat. Now, if you're trying to lose weight and you're exercising decently and pretty often, you can still eat carbs. And with that, you will see improvements in muscle growth and energy. And since you're working out, your blood sugars are stabilizing themselves already, so carbs isn't such a big problem. Let's talk refined versus complex carbs. The deal with refined carbohydrates, they break down in your gut faster, spiking your blood sugar sooner and for a shorter duration, as opposed to complex carbs. Because it's more fibrous, less refined, it takes longer for it to break down and get into your bloodstream. This could be good because when you eat the food, you feel fuller, more satiated, and when it gets into your blood, it spikes it slower and comes down slower, avoiding the dip and crash in blood sugars, creating cravings. Because insulin helps with glucose uptake into your muscles, liver, and body. And when you become insulin resistant, the food that you're eating is not getting sugar into your body. So your body gets really confused and saying, oh my goodness, give me some food, feed me. And I'll tell you about a supplement later. While we're on this, Jeff and Dr. Mike say that it's a phenomenal idea to eat more complex carbs when you're trying to lose weight.
So it could be the case that people simply consume fewer calories without realizing it, just because some of the more appetizing aisles of the grocery store are just now off limits.
But it sure isn't brown rice that is making people fat. What is it? Pizza, ice cream, cookies, etc. They are the most lipogenic foods because they have two things going for them. One, they have a ton of calories for every bite. Two, they are delicious and you just keep wanting to eat them. And you do. And then you get fat. And you look in the mirror. Or you begin to cry. Your spouse just isn't looking at you the same way anymore.
You could also increase dietary fiber to reduce cravings because fiber makes food digest slower and longer. That's why it's a good idea to eat beans, oats, fruit, and vegetables as opposed to fries, bread, white rice, and juice. If you're eating these trying to lose weight, you're just simply making your life more difficult and increasing your cravings. Now, on top of this, it's important to understand we have gut microbiome, which is the bacteria in your gut. Now, when your diet is more rich in carbohydrates, you're feeding and growing the carbohydrate bacteria. This is a good thing because if you're just going to keep on eating more carbs, these microbes are going to help you to digest them. But different strands of microbes thrive on different types of carbs, meaning the more refined carbs you eat, you're feeding a more enterobacteriaceae microbiome such as E. coli and Candida, which can increase low-grade inflammation and endotoxins. But this doesn't mean that refined carbs is the devil. Minus the horns. Whereas complex carb microbes feed bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, and this strengthens your gut lining, reduces inflammation, and improves insulin sensitivity. This can help a lot. Next, let's quickly touch on fat and protein. Again, just quickly, a high-fat diet going over your maintenance calories will make you fat. It's the excess energy that is always stored. For protein, just remember that it reduces cravings and increases muscle maintenance. And the Weigel et al. Study conducted in 2005 already proved that the participants that doubled their protein intake lost 11 pounds of fat in less than 3 months. Again, not a protein video. As a guideline, eat 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, understand carbs and water weight. If you do end up going very low carb, you could actually end up losing 4 to 10 pounds of water weight in the first week, depending on how much lean mass you have. With every gram of stored glucose you have, your body stores around 3 or 4 grams of water with it. So if you go keto and you lose a bunch of weight, it might just be mostly water. With this, when should you go low carb? Now, it's not absolutely necessary, but it can be helpful. If you have insulin resistance or energy dips and spikes, increased cravings, then it might be a good idea to reduce your carbs. And remember, there's a withdrawal phase. Because your body's used to running on carbs, dropping them suddenly will make you feel lousy for days or even weeks. But if you feel you're on the road to diabetes, meaning increasingly worse blood sugar levels and years of refined carbs cravings, then this is very serious and you could well benefit from reducing carbohydrates. But on on this topic, I recommend a great supplement called BERBERINE, which increases glucose uptake, meaning your body would need less insulin to do the same thing, helping stabilize blood sugar, thus improving insulin sensitivity, telling your body you're not hungry, you're not underfed, and you don't need to keep trying to eat food to get energy. It also tells your liver to stop producing sugar. So by taking this, your body will just produce less sugar, which is just awesome. And it doesn't do this through the cortisol pathway, but through the AMPK pathway. Basically putting your body in an energy preservation mode, allowing your blood sugars to stabilize. But AMPK is bad for muscle building because it's telling your body you need to preserve energy and not build. Otherwise, if you're not working out trying to build muscle, this does not mean you're going to lose your muscle. It just means when you work out, you won't build as much. BERBERINE. Destroy your cravings, seriously. Efficacy varies from person to person. Now, fructose or fruit. Dr. Berg is the keto maniac here that says you can't have any fruit, only a little bit or just berries. Now that's true if you're doing a keto diet. But if you're not doing a keto diet, then what's the problem? Stay within your maintenance and you're good. Now the main concern here is that fructose is mainly processed by the liver, which is true, but people are afraid thinking when the liver is overloaded with fructose and can't handle it, it's just going to store the rest of fructose into fat. But within a maintenance, your body will use all of the excess energy, and your liver, when overwhelmed, will convert fructose into glucose and send it out into the muscles and body. Jeff also explained only 1% of it was stored into fat.
A PhD has actually done a lot of research. About half of that fructose, when it hits the liver, is immediately converted into glucose, and roughly the other half is converted into lactate and then shipped out to other tissues. And only about 1% of that fructose is actually converted into fat. And this remains true even at very high doses of fructose, up to 100 or 150 grams, which is a lot.
So in terms of keto, yeah, it's a carb, but you can eat fruit. And fruit is fibrous, delicious, and nutritious. And it's not going to be addictive to where you're going to sacrifice your whole life eating bananas.
Can you imagine? You come into your doctor's office, he like does a bunch of blood work and tests and shit like that, and scans, and he's like, apples, Jim. Apples are killing you. And you're like, I just can't stop. He's like, your wife. Think about your wife.
Anyways, enjoy it within your maintenance. Overview. Enjoy your carbs. Unless you have blood sugar issues, then stop pounding down on them so hard. Stay away from junk food because they're so palatable, delicious, and addictive. Take a BERBERINE supplement because it will just literally make your life easier. Hopefully you don't get addicted to apples. I'm already addicted to banana. No, I'm not. And if you want to do ketosis, that's good too. You'll get extra benefits from decreased cravings and increased insulin sensitivity if that's being a problem for you. If this video was just super awesome, which it was, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with all your sisters and brothers that need dietary advice and it gets kind of awkward and offensive that you're sharing this video with them. Explain to them that they're getting a little chunky recently and you don't necessarily like that. Jokes, guys. Thank you guys for watching. That's it for me, and I'll see you in the next one.